Do 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 do. Hey boys and girls, how you doing? This is a viewer requested video. Have you ever met somebody in life that was so full of themselves, so absolutely certain that they refuse to correct themselves? In other words, if I said something that was completely incorrect, not opinion or belief, just palpably incorrect, and 100 people told me, you know you're not right because boom, 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 I know you made a mistake there. And I was just so full of myself that I stuck to it. I've actually have a relative like that. We call this word hubris. Anyway, I like to give some direct quotes, and since this is a viewer-requested video, I like to address the palpable empirical inaccuracies in this video. Somebody just got done making a video about the XT4. I'll let you figure out. And this is not personal. This is about correcting facts. Yeah? And this person, throughout countless videos, has said the same thing over and over and over again, that larger sensors gather more light. No, they don't, actually. Sensors don't work like picture windows. You know, back in the days of photography school, and I shot a large format camera in addition to medium format, sometimes we'd take those large medium format negatives, which I actually have one here, and we'd actually cut them up. This is a 4x5 large format negative. And we'd put that in the back of the tray where you'd actually, put your film for exposure. We'd actually cut them up sometimes. Sometimes we'd actually cut them in fours. Yeah, so you actually had, half of this or 1/4 of this in the back of the large format camera. Do you know how exposure changed? Because this is the same as a sensor, right? Yeah, and then the grain is equivalent, almost directly equivalent to pixel pitch and density, and of course how sensitive it is. Yes? Do you know what changed on exposure when we'd actually cut a large format, including 8x10? I just don't have an 8x10. You know what changed when we actually cut them up in half or in quarters? Nothing! Nothing changed at all. Absolutely nothing. You see this right here? This is the most expensive light meter that money can buy. Do you know where the button is, or the selection for entering in format size, whether it be like micro four thirds or crop sensor or large format? Well, it's nowhere! It doesn't exist! It ain't in this light meter. I own a lot of light meters. Girlfriend asked me how many light meters I own. I think I got like a dozen light meters. Yeah, including some old Minoltas, some older Secon. There's not a light meter on Earth that's got an input for sensor size. Larger sensors don't get... Sure they do. Sensors just like a picture window, The bigger it is, the more light it lets in. Well, that's one thing. But sensors don't work that way. You know what happens over in this part of the sensor? Has nothing to do with what happens over here. Larger sensors don't gather more light. That's not my opinion or feeling or belief. So this person in this video talking about the Fujifilm X-T4, saying that this is gathering more. It's not true. Let's go on to quote number 2. DX sensors suffer one stop less dynamic range than a full-frame sensor. No, they don't. No. The performance of a sensor has to do with pixel pitch, micro lens array, also to AD converters and SNR firmware, but let's just get to the primary things. It has to do with AD converters, SNR firmware, the sensor architecture, whether it be a BSI sensor or a conventional sensor. You see, this is a GFX 100. It's got twice as many megapixels on it as my GFX 50S and 50R. Now, even though it has smaller photo sites, smaller little eyeballs on it, it actually has better high ISO, low light performance than my GFX 50S and 50R, which have larger eyeballs. You know why? They're the same size sensor. It has to do with sensor design, architecture, AD converter, SNR firmware. Also, too, this is a BSI sensor. Those are not. That's not the case. Actually, the best dynamic range on any sensor in the world, and this is on Sony's own website, is a tiny, I think it's like 2 millimeters by 5 millimeters. It's used for industrial uses, not for photography, like backup sensors on cars. You get basically, you see, in near total darkness. It's got the best dynamic range, but it's only like a I think it's like 1.8 megapixels. It has huge eyeballs on it. It's a really, really tiny sensor. No. DX sensors don't suffer one stop less dynamic range. This is not my feeling or my opinion or my conviction like a religion. We're talking about empirical quantities, facts, empirical facts. Yeah. Interestingly enough, and I'm not like against this guy, however, he is extremely hubristic because he will never admit that he keeps making, and when people say, you know, larger sensors, Mr. YouTube, Mr. super famous YouTuber, you know, you keep saying that larger sensors gather more light, but they don't. What he does is you need to click on my link below. He's got this pat link, and he sends everybody to, which doesn't back up anything that he ever says. Yeah, he said, you need to click on my link. That's actually a fallacy. When you keep saying this, you see, everybody makes mistakes, and it's okay to make mistakes. I've made mistakes, everybody. But when you keep making the same mistake over and over again, and countless thousands of people tell you, no, dude, you're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. Larger sensors don't gather more light. Crop sensor cameras don't suffer less dynamic range. Like one of the smallest sensors, digital sensors made, has the best dynamic range, but it's like a 1.8 megapixel camera. And it's not for photography, it's for industrial uses, like security cameras, the backup sensors for a car. It's not true. He kept saying over and over again, and I remember this is a viewer-requested video. He's talking about the X-T4 this entire video, and he keeps saying over and over again, he says, Fuji's top-end cameras are mid-range. Let me repeat that again, slowly. Fuji's top-end cameras are mid-range. Fuji tops out in the middle. Then what the hell is this? Where's Nikon's medium format camera? Where is Sony's medium format camera? Where is Canon's medium format camera? This is a $10,000 medium format 102 megapixel camera. What do you mean Fuji tops out in the mid-range? Mid-range, if we want to talk about mid-range, you get technical here. Yeah, mid-range would be somewhere around a DX camera, yeah? But that's not mid-range, that's sensor size. So that means that Fujifilm is at the top of the range since they're the people with all the medium format cameras, right? Yeah, Fujifilm tops out in the mid-range. Since there's actually this video that he made is about the X-T4, which is $1,700. So you mean to say that this amazing X-T4 camera with its incredible specifications and video capabilities far in excess of anything Nikon or Canon has, which is $5,000 less than the new comparable Nikon and Canon cameras. Is that the mid-range you're talking about? The $1,700 camera with a brand new battery, with an IBIS mechanism, with a fully articulating screen, with twice the shutter mechanism life of the X-T3, with twice the stated autofocus performance of the X-T3, which is incredible. You're calling that mid-range? What's your definition of top range? Just that it's expensive? Top range. Fujifilm tops out in the mid-range. Fuji's top end, honey, is this camera right here. And this top, now this is, even though it's the world's first fast-focusing auto medium format camera, it's not to be confused for an ultra-hardcore sports action wildlife camera. But that's what Fujifilm's going to announce tonight on the specifications, which have already been leaked on the X-T4. This guy keeps thinking that more megapixels equals a better camera. He kept talking about, well, this new X-T4 is not going to match, the top-end cameras from Nikon and Canon, which have more megapixels. Well, megapixels and pixel density are two different things. If you actually take the same sensor in this, the X100V, which is the 26 megapixel BSI sensor, is the same in the X-T3, the same in the X-T4. See, if you actually scale this up with the same pixel density, in other words, you are able to enlarge the sensor and keep the same density, it would be 26 megapixels times a 2.25, which means scaled up, this would be a 58 megapixel if it were a full frame. Yeah? Yeah? Yeah, more megapixels doesn't equal more information. It just means it larger area. Yeah, which doesn't mean to gather more light either, because exposure is per unit area, not per total area. The same reason, as I keep stating, no light meter on Earth has an input for sensor size. None! None of them do, girlfriend. None. So when you actually, it keeps saying this. Now, the fact is, if you want to jump on me for making this video, I will point out to you that if I made an error, which is fine, everybody makes mistakes, but if I made an error And, 1,000 people is like, no, you made a mistake there, old Kenny boy. Uncle Kenny, you made a mistake because boom, 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 boom. Fact, 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 fact. And I said, no, I said it. That's the way it is. Once I've said it, I'm never going to correct it because I said it. And the case is closed. That is called hubris. These are the words you should look up in the Google or your dictionary. Hubris, Hubris. If I did that, video after video after video after video after video, people are, guys, there's something wrong. And he keeps saying the same stuff over and over again. Everybody's told him that he's wrong, but he keeps, and of course if you say, you're wrong on it, was no, you need to click this link below. I explain it in my link below. That's the definition of hubris. No, I never make a mistake. No, click on my link below. I explain it all and why you're confused. When you keep making the same mistake over and over again, and people telling you that you are, and you go, no, you need to click my link below. You really don't understand what's going on. No, you're wrong. Larger sensors don't gather more light. Yeah? If you cut this negative up, this one's already been developed, but if you cut this negative up and you stick it in the back of a full-frame camera, do you know what you change on aperture and shutter speed to get the correct exposure? Nothing! Nothing changes! You fold this in, cut it in half, nothing changes. It's not my feeling, it's not my belief, it's not my religious conviction, it's a fact. You see, facts are one thing, opinions are another. Facts, or episteme, is one thing, as the Greeks would say. Opinions, or doxa, is another. We're not talking about opinions or convictions or beliefs. I believe, we're not talking about your beliefs or my beliefs, we're talking about facts! That's why this light meter is just as good for film photography as it is for digital photography. That's the reason why none of these sensors have an input for sensor size, girlfriend. Yeah. And megapixels is not related to pixel density. There is a reason why National Geographic photographers are using, $20,000 800mm Nikkor lenses on crop sensor cameras. However, the full frame now have gone up to crop sensor pixel density. Like for a Nikon D5, which one's better? If they both had the exact same autofocus and image processing, they're not the same sensor. One's a BSI sensor in the D850, and one is a conventional sensor in the Nikon D550. So which one has more information on it? The 46 megapixel Nikon D850 or the 20 megapixel Nikon D500? It's not a trick question. Which one has more information per unit area? Yeah? Let's just say this is a crop sensor, Nikon D500, and this is the full frame. However, the size is not equivalent here. The full frame Nikon, they're the same. If you take 20 megapixels times 2.25, you end up with the same megapixels as on the Nikon D850. Pixel density is the same, however the sensors are different, and it's a different type of sensor architecture. One is a BSI sensor in the D850, and the Nikon D500 is not a BSI sensor. The amount of information is the same. The superimposition, as far as image density of translational information per unit area on the sensor, is the same. It's the same. So all these statements that are being made, and people believe this stuff. I've said over and over again that and I'm not interested in that, if I wanted like a bunch more subscribers, I just get a lobotomy. And just like, doctor, cut out half my brain so I could say things that were just completely incorrect. What is the Mark Twain said? He said, the truth, a lie will fly around the earth, circle the earth 3 times before the truth gets off the ground. Yes, you say something absurdly illogical and palpably empirically incorrect, it will go farther faster than telling the truth, Somewhere along the way, I was taught that the truth and logic and common sense and wisdom mattered. But apparently that's not the case. Like that's any shocker to me. Yeah, but the key word today, folks, is hubris. Yeah? He kept saying Fujifilm's top end is really a mid-range camera. Really, girlfriend? Really there, boy? Yeah? Then what the F is this? Yeah? My question to you is, what the F is this? Huh? Fujifilm's top end is really mid-range. Yeah, you are funny. You're my comic relief. Thank you, everybody, for emailing me and pointing me to that video. I laughed until my guts fell out. And then I shoved them back in again. And mic drop. Oh, God. I'll edit that out of this video.